You think your choices are your own. The coffee you ordered, the person you trusted, the argument you escalated, the silence you held. Each decision feels isolated, spontaneous, personal, intentional. But beneath your awareness, patterns are running. Invisible repetitions, emotional loops, predictable reactions disguised as personality. And most people never notice them. They don't see the script they're following. They only feel the consequences. Tonight, we examine the behavioral patterns people ignore, the subtle forces shaping identity, conflict, love, ambition, and self-sabotage. Not to judge them, but to reveal them. Because what remains unseen controls you, and what becomes visible gives you choice. Humans pride themselves on individuality. We say, "I'm just like this. That's how I am. I don't know why, it just felt right." But behavior is rarely random. The mind conserves energy. It relies on shortcuts. Repeated experiences form internal templates. How love feels, how conflict unfolds, how authority is treated. And once those templates are built, they replay. You don't fall for a new type of person. You fall for a familiar emotional pattern. You don't argue in new ways. You repeat the same emotional choreography with different faces. The mind prefers predictability over novelty, even when predictability hurts. One of the most ignored patterns in human behavior. People choose familiar pain over unfamiliar uncertainty. A toxic relationship feels safer than solitude. A miserable job feels safer than risk. A dysfunctional friendship feels safer than confrontation. Why? Because the nervous system doesn't measure happiness, it measures familiarity. If chaos was normal in childhood, calm feels suspicious. If love was inconsistent, stability feels boring. If approval had to be earned, ease feels undeserved. So people recreate emotional environments that match their early blueprint, not because they enjoy suffering, but because the unfamiliar feels dangerous. The body would rather predict pain than face uncertainty, and so the loop continues. Watch closely, and you'll see it everywhere. The student who procrastinates before every major opportunity, the entrepreneur who quits right before momentum builds, the partner who starts arguments when intimacy deepens. From the outside, it looks irrational, but underneath is a pattern. Success changes identity. Love requires vulnerability. Growth threatens old narratives. If someone secretly believes, "I'm not enough, I'll be abandoned, I don't deserve this," they will unconsciously create outcomes that confirm it. This is not weakness, it's psychological consistency. The brain prefers being right over being happy, so it protects the old story, even if the story hurts. Another ignored pattern. You think your emotions are yours, but emotion spreads faster than logic. A tense room reshapes your posture. An anxious friend elevates your heartbeat. An angry crowd rewires individual restraint. Humans are wired for emotional synchronization. We mirror tone, we match rhythm, we absorb atmosphere, and without noticing, we adjust our beliefs to align with the group. This is how outrage spreads online, how fear multiplies in markets, how cruelty becomes normalized. Most people believe they are thinking independently, but their nervous system is reacting collectively, and collective emotion can override personal ethics. Conflict rarely explodes instantly. It escalates in micro steps. A dismissive tone, a subtle eye roll, a delayed reply, a memory stored quietly, ignored, unaddressed, accumulated. Humans are remarkably tolerant of small violations until they aren't. Then one minor event triggers a disproportionate reaction, and everyone says, "That came out of nowhere." But it didn't. It came from a pattern of unspoken grievances. Unexpressed needs don't disappear. They transform into resentment, and resentment seeks release. The explosion was not sudden, it was delayed. Watch social behavior long enough, and you'll see another pattern. People repeat what earns attention, not what aligns with truth. A controversial opinion gets engagement. A dramatic story gets sympathy. A bold persona gets admiration. The brain registers validation as reward. Dopamine reinforces performance. And gradually, authenticity shifts toward what is rewarded. The danger: people begin to confuse applause with identity. They amplify traits that receive response. They suppress traits that don't. And over time, they forget who they were before the feedback loop began. This is how personas are built, and how authenticity erodes quietly. Most people believe they would never do something extreme, never lie in a serious way, never betray someone important, never harm for personal gain. But morality rarely collapses in one decision. It shifts gradually. A small justification, a tiny compromise. Adjust this once. Behavior adjusts to accommodate the first breach. The second breach feels easier, then the third. Eventually, actions that once felt impossible feel reasonable. Humans adapt not just to environments, but to their own behavior. Each action recalibrates what feels normal, and by the time someone crosses a line they once swore they'd never approach, the line has already moved. Memory is not a recording device, it is a storyteller. People unconsciously edit memories to preserve identity. We remember ourselves as more reasonable, more justified, more misunderstood. We soften our mistakes, sharpen others. Over time, this creates a consistent internal narrative. I tried. They failed. I reacted. They caused. And this narrative protects self-esteem, but it also preserves conflict. Because if the story never changes, neither does the behavior. Not all patterns are loud. Some are silent. Avoidance is one of the most destructive, ignored behaviors. Avoiding difficult conversations, avoiding medical checkups, avoiding financial reality, avoiding emotional introspection. Avoidance reduces anxiety in the short term, so the brain rewards it. But unaddressed problems compound, and the longer something is avoided, the larger it becomes in imagination. People often mistake relief for resolution, but relief is temporary. Resolution requires discomfort, and discomfort is what avoidance is designed to escape. Humans don't just defend opinions, they defend identities. If a belief becomes tied to self-image, political, cultural, intellectual, moral, challenging the belief feels like a personal attack. So people double down, not because evidence is weak, but because identity is threatened. The pattern is simple. Information that confirms identity is accepted. Information that challenges it is scrutinized or dismissed. This isn't stupidity, it's psychological defense. The mind protects coherence, even at the expense of truth. In groups, responsibility diffuses. When many people witness a problem, each individual feels less accountable. Someone else will act. Someone else will intervene. Someone else will speak up. So no one does. Individually, people may be compassionate. Collectively, they hesitate. The absence of action is not always cruelty. Sometimes it is diffusion, but the outcome feels the same to the one who needed help. One of the most powerful ignored patterns: people criticize in others what they cannot tolerate in themselves. Arrogance, neediness, insecurity, control. Projection allows a person to externalize discomfort. If the flaw exists outside, it doesn't need to be confronted within, and so conflict becomes psychological misdirection. The more intense the emotional reaction, the more likely it reflects something internal. But few people look inward. It is easier to fix the world than to examine the self. When do ordinary people commit extraordinary harm? Rarely in isolation. It follows patterns: gradual desensitization, group reinforcement, moral justification, dehumanization. Under the right pressures, fear, scarcity, authority, belonging, behavior shifts. History has shown this repeatedly. Not monsters, humans. People are more context-dependent than they admit. Under different conditions, many would act differently than they imagine. This realization is uncomfortable, but necessary, because denying vulnerability to influence makes us more vulnerable to it. So, what interrupts a behavioral loop? Awareness. But awareness alone is not enough. There must be friction, a pause between stimulus and reaction, a moment long enough to ask, is this familiar or intentional? Patterns feel automatic. Choice feels slower, uncomfortable, effortful. But the ability to observe your reaction before acting on it, that is where agency lives, not in eliminating patterns, but in recognizing them. Behavior leaves trails in relationships, in careers, in habits, in history. Most people spend their lives analyzing others. Few analyze themselves. If you look carefully, you'll see repetitions in your own life, conflicts with similar themes, opportunities lost in similar ways, attractions to similar personalities, fears triggered by similar events. These are not coincidences. They are patterns waiting to be acknowledged, and once seen, they can be interrupted. You are not just your impulses, not just your conditioning, not just your past, but until you examine the forces shaping your behavior, you are reacting, not choosing. The anatomy of intent is not found in grand decisions. It is found in small, repeated actions, the ignored habits, the automatic responses, the silent justifications. Look closely. The pattern is there, and once you see it, you can decide whether to continue it or end it.